Okay, welcome everybody to the end of October. It's October 30th, and this is the LF Decentralized Trust Technical Advisory Council meeting. Everybody has been on the call before, but just a reminder, two things that we have to abide by. The first is the antitrust policy notice. So we need to be aware of and not participate in any activities that are prohibited under any of the antitrust and competition laws across the world. The second thing that we have to abide by is our code of conduct. While everybody is welcome here, we do need to be respectful of others on the call and their opinions and ideas, and we should all get along fine. If you want to see the full content of the code of conduct, please do use the link that is in the agenda. For announcements today, we have the standard Dev Weekly developer newsletter that goes out each Friday. If you do have anything that you would like to include in that newsletter, please do leave a comment for consideration on the link that is in the agenda. The second announcement is a reminder. We do have currently the nomination period for the 2026 TAC term is open and will end tomorrow at the end of day Pacific time. If you do want to nominate yourself to run for the TAC, please do file an issue on GitHub with your nomination statement. The next announcement is that on Wednesday, November 12th at 8 a.m. Pacific time, there is a workshop on cross-network interop with Hyperledger Cacti, and there is a registration link here in the agenda as well. And my brain froze there for a moment because I realized that the time did change in Europe this past weekend, and I believe changes this weekend in the US, and that may be why some of the folks are not on the call because they may not realize it's the right time. So anyway, that was why I paused there on that third announcement. Maintainer Days registration is now open. If you do want to register for that, there is a link here in the agenda. It is free for all attendees, and the registration will also include a registration for the LFD Member Summit for maintainers, and that Member Summit is happening on January 28th and 29th. RAI is the Maintainers Day event. Do you know if that's before or after the Member Summit?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I think last year it was before. That's my guess for this
Daniela, do
year
you
as well.
remember?
It's 2 days before.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Monday, Tuesday is the maintainer summit, and I'm sorry, the maintainer event, and the Wednesday, Thursday is members.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sean. Okay, so those are the four official announcements that we have. Are there any other announcements that anybody has or would like to make? I know of at least one.
Yes, I do have an announcement. I have made the hard decision to accept a job in another industry and step down from the TAC. I just wanted to say that this has been such a great year, or nearly a year, working with you all. I've really enjoyed this experience on the TAC and in the contributor ladder task force, as well as my involvement in other SIGs and working groups in the community. It's very bittersweet and very hard to leave, but I hope to stay connected with everyone, and I'm excited to keep hearing about all the exciting developments and progress in the LFDT. So thank you for this great experience, and yeah, I'm excited to stay connected.
Great.
You will be missed.
Definitely,
Thank you.
Char.
Thank you.
I think, having your voice this year, I've already told you this, but I think I'd like to make it official, right? Having your voice this year has been great, and the TAC, and I think you've brought a lot to the discussions. So, obviously, congratulations on your new role. The LFDT TAC will definitely miss you in that role, but as you said, let's keep in touch and, good luck in the new endeavors.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That means a lot to hear.
All right. Any other announcements that anybody has or would like to make today? Okay, if not, then let's go ahead and move forward with the agenda. So for quarterly reports, we do have 4 quarterly reports that are that need to be reviewed, all from Q4. So I'm happy to hear that we're caught up to the quarter at least, if not necessarily through all of these quarterly reports, keeping updated with them. But we do have the Cacti, Fabric, Indian, and Oddcreds reports that are out there for review. If you haven't yet reviewed those, please do go ahead and have a look. I think, they are obviously important for us to understand how the projects are doing and moving forward. So, yeah, please have a look and we'll get those closed as quickly as we can as soon as people have reviewed them. For overdue reports, we do have some overdue reports. One from Q3 that I would still expect to get, which is from Trust Over IP, and then a couple from Q4 that we haven't yet gotten in. So Arun, I don't know when the last time we reached out, but it might be worth reaching out again. I think maybe the last time we reached out was last week, but if you could just keep poking at them, hopefully we'll get those in.
Sure, Tracy. I wanted to raise hands for quarterly report discussion. I saw a question from Fabric team. Wanted
Okay.
to understand, so they have mentioned that IBM is expecting to slow down in contributions. So I was curious if this is only for Fabric or does it impact Fabric X? And what is their plan right now?
I don't think there are
I-
any representatives from IBM on the call, so.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Thanks, Rye. But hopefully they can get some information out there. I think the last few reports, we've actually seen comments in the report about, it's being mostly Fabric is in a maintenance type mode, except I do know they were working on one RFC, at least as far as the Q3 report talked about. So I would say, yes, it's slower, but they, obviously feel that there's a stable product for people to use. And I know that there's a number of people who are working on the Fabric X work. I think that's an important activity for them, and I doubt that it's going to slow down, but I obviously don't have any insights one way or the other into that. So let's hope that they do get back on the GitHub issue. Looks like your comment is fairly new, so we'll hope to hear back from them. Daniela, you have further insight for us?
I would like to recommend that you invite the Fabric maintainers. There are Fabric maintainers that no longer that are not IBMers. There are also there's a Fabric Fast Track program, and I believe there's at least one maintainer that is working towards getting assigned maintainership. In regards to your question about Fabric X, I highly recommend there's a 3-part series on Fabric X that the IBM research has been doing. I think the first one was last week, and then there's one in 2 weeks, and then one in 3 weeks' time. I will find those links for you, and if anyone's interested in seeing the Fabric X process, I would recommend there. But that would be my recommendation, there are maintainers who are not IBM employees that maybe you can invite to come in and talk to you.
All right. Thanks, Daniela.
Let me find the link. I'll put it in the chat.
All right, great. Anything else on that, Arun?
No, Tracy, thanks for all the pointers, Daniela.
No problem. I know there's a lot going on all the time, so if we don't point them out, it's a little bit hard.
All right, and then, yeah, and for upcoming reports, we do have the Solling report due next week. So hopefully we'll see that one coming in on time, but we'll obviously have it here in the agenda so we can follow up on that. Any other comments or questions on the quarterly reports at this point? Okay, so then if not, discussion for today is to take a look at the two PRs that we discussed 2 weeks ago. I did make some updates on, well, earlier this week, can't remember what day, to try and take into account some of the discussion that we had the last time. So I'm hoping those are in a good spot for us to have a look at. I'm thinking, Ryan, it might be easier if I share my screen and just walk people through it. Give me 1 second, get that open. Okay, hopefully folks can see my screen that has the pull request on it. Somebody could just confirm.
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. And I'm just getting now my Zoom set up so I can see if anybody raises their hand. Okay, so the first one, I don't know what the first one was that I had on the thing, but maybe we'll start with this one. It's shorter, and I don't think we started with this one first the last time. This is the timing requirement that we have added for the project quarterly updates. One of the things that was asked previously was if this applied to both the annual reviews and the project updates. For some reason, I don't know why this says project annual reviews now that I'm looking at this. But this should say project updates. If the project updates are not submitted within 2 months of their scheduled due date, or if the poll request comments are not responded to within 2 weeks, that last part is an add since the last time we talked, then projects will be moved to a dormant state. New projects may be granted an extension of 1 quarter for submission, but no more. So obviously I have to fix this to say updates. And what I was trying to say was that in the project annual review governance, we already have a comment that says the same thing about the 2 months. Doesn't say anything about the pull request comments. But yeah, I think we need to talk about the second part of this, which is the pull request comments not responded to within 2 weeks. I think Enrique thought this might be a bit short. So yeah, wanted to see what people think. 2 weeks too short? I mean, it doesn't say that they have to have answered it. It says they must have responded to it, which implies that they could say, you know, hey, it's going to take us a bit to get this information, or whatever the case may be. So happy to discuss further.
Hey, Tracy, so is the wording they have to acknowledge within 2 weeks instead of responded? Is that what you are saying on the last part of your sentence?
I mean, it can be if that's what we wanted to say. I don't know that I had thought one way or the other about it, just that I dislike the fact that I just had to remind somebody after almost a quarter that they hadn't yet responded to my notes and others' notes from our last review, right? And I think that's what we're trying to get here is there should be some sort of feedback loop. It shouldn't just go into dead space. And
Okay.
so if we want to say acknowledge, Enrique, I'm fine to make that change as well.
No, I was just curious what you thought. Yeah, I'm fine with the word responded. I was just thinking if 2 weeks was too short, so I just wanted to see what other people from the TAC thought.
And Enrique, is there a reason why you think 2 weeks is too short, or a alternate recommendation for the amount of time we would want?
I don't know. I know that it's quite common in some parts of the world to like take 2 weeks off vacation straight. So don't know. I don't feel like 2 weeks and you'll be moved to dormant. Seems like the right approach. So maybe 3 weeks. I don't know. It's just we just gotta pick a number that seems correct. I think for the whole world, which is quite hard. So yeah, I just thought maybe 3 weeks to something like that, or 4 weeks would be ideal. What do people think?
Could we make it working business days?
Yeah, I guess
Sometime.
business is also very different in different countries and areas of the world, but that could also work.
So, Diane, if I understand that, then 2 weeks of working days would basically be 3 weeks. Yes?
Depends on where you are in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's all very dependent on that. I was just thinking that would preclude if it happened during a holiday season in Europe, for example, where you all get a hell of a lot more than we do. And so I just think I was thinking at least 10 working business days. But I'm okay with going for 3 weeks if that makes people a little bit more.
Yeah, I like to go on vacation for 3 weeks as a European, you know. So 3 weeks would be really good from my point of view.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think 3 weeks is quite good because it's not going to be always the same person responding. If hopefully there's a couple of maintainers on each of these projects, we expect there's some overlap, right, between people working on these projects.
And okay, we can make that change. And then responded, acknowledged. Which would you prefer, Enrique?
I feel like I have the voting. I feel
Well,
like
no, I mean, I think what you brought up is valid, and so that's why I want to
if
make
we
sure if I change it to acknowledged, maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but maybe other
I
people might have something else to say if you say one thing.
I think given that we've moved it to 3 weeks and we're given a bit more time, I feel like responded is better.
Okay,
So it feels like there's an action that they have to do instead of just saying, "Yeah, I'll get back to you in 3 months," right? So I think using the word responded seems correct to me.
okay. Any other differences of opinion to that? Okay, so this is what it will say now. As soon as I sign off and commit, but I'll have to do this manually because for some reason when I sign off and commit, it still uses my Accenture email, although that's not associated with my GitHub as an active email anymore. And so it really confuses the DCO sign off because I don't know, it expects it, but yet it doesn't need it to pass DCO, and DCO is confused. So anyway, I'll take care of that offline, but any other changes to this that we should make? Okay. Are we ready to vote on this PR? Since it's a change to our governing documents, we do need to have an official vote for this.
I'll propose that. Sure.
Okay, thanks, Rune. And do we have a second?
I second.
All right, thank you. Yeah, so Ryan, take us through a vote.
Sure. Since we are a small group today, all of the voting TAC members in favor of the proposition of adding this timing requirement, merging this PR, please say aye.
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 All of those against, please say nay. And anyone that wishes to abstain, even though I just saw you all vote. Okay, the motion passes on a voice vote.
And I am just about ready to sign this in. So that we can just see it officially, even though we've already voted. All right, so you can see I updated project updates here and the 3 weeks here. So we can go ahead and merge that one now. Let me go ahead and do that, and we'll jump to the next one. All right. So the next one that we have to look at is the template updates. So remember we changed from having templates for project updates and project annual reviews to instructions. And so you can now see the instructions here. We removed the templates. And then I did make changes so that projects that don't have a TAC, I just put or similar in all the places where it referenced TAC or TSC, sorry. And then just for your information, this is where our last PR already exists here. The submit it within 2 months. TAC will take this as a sign that the project's not under active maintenance and is likely to decide to archive the project and move it to an end of life stage. So that was already there, but I just want to point that out. Other changes on this particular file. Before we talked about having discussions in the TAC Discord channel, but we obviously do that in the pull request. So I did make that change here to reflect that. And then the other thing is that last week we had talked about having the TSC come in and present the annual report before we just engage in that kind of readout from the TAC members who are responsible for reviewing that. And then one last change here in this document is, sorry, my screen is a bit too short to see what I'm looking at. Here we go. Is that we asked that after the meeting wraps up, the lead TAC member should summarize the discussion in a new PR that updates the annual report, and in addition to that summary, adds a link to the recording where the annual report was discussed, making sure that's included in there as well. This is again just changing what previously existed to say or maintainer. And then, yeah, I removed Rama the second year. I think we had a second year here. I removed that based on your comments. And then I did not make it optional to attend the public TAC meetings as responsibilities for the project folks. I made it that they need to attend and present the annual report, again, based on our discussion. And then, just as TAC member responsible, making sure that they put any findings that they have in the pull request for discussion, and summarizing and capturing any action items by filing issues in the LF Decentralized Trust Governance GitHub repo. And then all TAC members should discuss in the PR instead of in the thread that was on Discord. So those are the changes I made to the overall kind of governance document that we have on project annual reviews. Arun, I had saw your hand up there. Did I answer the question that you had?
Right. So I actually had my hand up a few minutes ago. That was for a topic where majority of the contention from maintainers would we be able to answer, or would they be able to answer our questions? When I say our questions, I'm talking about TAC. I think that gets resolved through the proposal where we are inviting project team members to join TAC meetings and run through their report themselves. I think that was what I was searching for. I think that's written in this particular proposal.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rosie.
Yep. You're welcome, Arun. Yeah, I think that was part of our discussion the last time, is making sure that the project folks come in and talk to the TAC instead of it all being through the PR. I think that made sense, and so that's why it's included now here in the document. Okay. I did not make this change, Rama. I think we should probably do that in a separate PR, because I do think you're right. We have lots of places probably in our documents that talk about life cycle stage versus life cycle state. And it probably just makes sense to do that all as one and not kind of, dirty up this PR, if you will. So that I left there. I did make the other minor recommendations and nits that people had in this particular document. I don't think I made any other changes per se to the two instructions. Yeah, I may have missed a discussion item, but I don't think I made any other real changes to this based on the last time we looked at it. So, thoughts, things that don't look right? Like I said, I think the only open comment was Rama's, and I just wanted to, address that through a separate PR. Rama?
Uh, on that particular comment, do you want to pick a word right now?
Stage or state?
Yeah.
I think I was thinking about why some of the state might exist in the verbiage, and I think it's because when we put together the most recent kind of picture, it felt more like a state diagram than it did necessarily stages, and so I think that's potentially why that word was introduced in here somewhere. My guess is it was always originally stage and not state, but I'm happy with either one. I could go either way, so I don't have a preference. Do you have a preference?
No.
Does anybody have a preference for life cycle stage versus life cycle state? Nobody has a preference.
I'll put in a vote for stage. How's that?
Okay, stage. Diane thinks stage is better than state, and I think if I'm reading Arun's
agrees.
comment, he has the
Yeah.
opposite opinion.
Oh, goodness.
Arun, did I get that right? You think state's better than stage?
Right.
Yeah.
The reason being, like, we want to move it. I'm just thinking in that direction where we may move projects up and down the states. So stage kind of feels like once they reach theirs, they stay theirs. And just it gives that impression. No hard opinion though.
Okay, I can definitely see that. Makes some sense. Diane, your reasoning for having picked stage over state?
I was just thinking of steps and going up a stage, so I'm fine with Arun's assessment.
Okay. So I just capture that here in the comments so that whoever takes on that PR knows what they should be doing.
Yeah, I can take that.
All right, thanks, Rama. Okay, any other thoughts or comments on this? Do we think it's in a good shape that we're ready to vote on it, or do we need a bit more time? What's the general feel from the TAC members?
I'm fine with moving this forward, Tracy.
Okay, is that a motion?
It could be a motion, yes.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there was a couple seconds in there, so we'll
Okay. Yeah, on the widely seconded matter before the TAC. Again, all the voting TAC members in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, well, that's everybody, but I'll go ahead and anyone that's not in favor, please say nay. And those of you who aren't here who wish to abstain, please say abstain. Okay, motion passes on voice vote.
All right, thanks. Arun, you have your hand up.
A quick question. So when do we start enforcing this? Is it from Q4 or do we start enforcing this soon after Q4?
I would say probably I mean, it's a good question. My initial thought is that we already have some Q4 reports in, so we can't really retroactively enforce this. But I do feel like obviously the annual review is the place where things like this are going to have to be enforced, and so that would be the first of the year with the next TAC term. Okay. We'll go ahead and merge this guy in as well. Okay, so that was the agenda for today. I will point out that I did add a new PR yesterday for people to take a look at. This is some notes that I had put together regarding really what it is to be a TAC chair and the sorts of things that people would need to do in that role from running TAC meetings. So there's specific information in here about just the general flow that I've followed for the last, well, few years, and I think I took on from other people. Things that typically are done during the first meeting of the term, what's done typically during the first quarter meetings, and then kind of the remainder of your meetings. And then we haven't gotten there yet, but I have been doing for the last couple of years a retrospective on kind of what we've accomplished and, you know, kind of what people think based on what we've done and what we should have done and maybe what some thoughts for the new TAC. So I put that in here as well. I do provide monthly updates to the governing board on both what the TAC has been doing as well as the project updates that have been merged in. There's a whole folder where this is open for anybody. If anybody wants to go poke at it, they can see previous updates since basically I took on the chair role of the TSC, TOC, and now TAC. So you can see those there. We also have a number of conference and web updates that have been done as the TAC chair that I've linked here for examples of what's been done previously. And then, for the past, I think, 4 years, we've been doing a yearly questions blog that is, again, linked in this. Those are some of the things that I thought might be important for somebody new coming in who'd be running for the TAC chair and taking that role on. So I wanted to get this out there. Right now, one of the things that I have done, just because Arun, you asked, is right now this is under the member info section, under just TAC chair notes, because I didn't know where else to put it, and that felt like a good spot, just to have it out there publicly for people to have a look at, so that, if anybody needed reference in the future, they would have it in some place that everybody could find. So yeah, please feel free to look at that. Tell me if there's other things I should talk about that maybe I've forgotten to talk about, and I'm happy to add those too. Or if you see any typos or things like that that just don't work, please, fix it up for me, and we can talk about getting this merged. Ideally, I think we could merge this one, since it's not a governance document, just based on approvals in the PR. So if you would like to approve it when you're happy with it, please do that as well, and we can get it merged in at some point in the future. But I don't have anything else for today, so is there any other topics that anybody would like to bring up or discuss today?
No, but thank you for those detailed notes.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, well, if there is nothing else for us to discuss today, then I will go ahead and close out today's meeting. Currently, I'm not aware of anything for our agenda next week, so maybe we can do some task force updates to see where things are, and if there's anything that would like to be presented as outcomes from those task forces, we can also cover those. But yeah, I think that's probably what we'll focus on next week, unless we really don't have a whole lot, and then we'll see if anything else comes up. So let's go ahead and close out today's meeting, and we'll probably talk again next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks,
Thank you.
Pat.
Cheers,
See
bye.
you.